Hello, friends, and welcome back to Disney Dose Episode 3. We've made it 3 episodes. Thank you so much for listening to us and just joining us maybe for a 30-minute conversation. We're just trying our best. We're trying some things out. We're enjoying the conversation, talking about Disney, talking about Marvel. And today, we're excited. We're going to talk about D23. So we already covered kind of projections for D23 Day 1, which is all of the films, the movies. It's their big like media Disney Plus Day type of thing. Then Saturday, we have an incredible panel event called Horizons, which is all about Disney parks and experiences. And as we stated last time, I've been at D23, I think 4 times now. I went with you, I think the last time, which was so fun. And we did, these big events. We did like the big movie one. We did the parks panel, and that is so fun. The parks panels is so
electric to be in there.
Because you get the core, just these core Disney fans from all over the country, all over the world, who just love these niche things, like the orange bird in Orlando, Florida, at Walt Disney World, like vintage thing, Figment, the dragon, that like you do a cross section of the United States, you're not going to find maybe everyone who knows what that is.
Yeah,
but
and if you're listening or watching right now and you don't know what those 2 things are that he just mentioned, you're in a great place to learn about those
You're
things.
in a great place. I'm talking like, oh, can you believe anyone doesn't know? Yeah, you're in a great place. But yes, the theme park panel is so fun, and they do give huge announcements at these panels. This is where Star Wars Land, where that was announced. We're not building 1 of these, we're building 2. So this one is forecasted to be the biggest D23 event that they've ever done. Okay. Now I know there's Disney fans that are like holding on. They're wondering, can I get excited? Can I fully invest my heart again? Where maybe last time they threw out some blue sky concepts, which were exciting, but no concrete plans. So hopefully this time we're getting some concrete plans where they pour concrete, if you get my drift.
Where they break ground.
Pour concrete, and actually build something. So we're going to cover all of the projections, the announcements. There is some really exciting stuff, and some stuff that maybe would have been totally out of left field that no one has really, Disney hasn't talked about yet. Okay. Now, as we go through these predictions, we're going to grade them. Okay. Grade them on most likely to happen. Like we think this is like totally going to happen. Middle category, which we called in the last projections video, an educated wish.
I've never used the term educated wish more in my life.
So true.
But it is quickly becoming a permanent part of my vocabulary thanks to Deadpool Wolverine.
So true. So the last 5 days, total trajectory has changed. So educated wish. This is something that we would like to see, but we're kind of 50-50. And then definitely not going to happen. Okay. So most likely pipe dream. So most likely going to happen. Educated wish, not going to happen at all. Okay. You ready?
Ready.
All right. Well, the Disney Parks panel is hosted by the chairman of Disney Parks and Experiences, the head of it, Josh D'Amaro. He has a great personality. He has a great way that he handles the stage, a lot of stage presence. So that's going to all be great. We love seeing him on stage, but we want to get into the announcements. So they've talked a lot about what's been going on in Anaheim, a big project called Disneyland Forward. Okay. Now this is something they actually needed Anaheim, the city council, to actually approve, where it basically it's redistricting some of their land that they currently own. So basically they want to change some of their hotel land that they have, or parking areas that they have. They want to recategorize them so that Disney can use that land for more theme park space. Okay. So it is an expansion, but they need Anaheim's approval to say, yep, you're good to go. Start building more theme park space, okay? They also have a little plot of land actually right next to the Anaheim Convention Center. So if you're going to D23, you're going to pass by it as you are going into the convention. But this land is also owned by Disney. It could possibly be used for more theme park space, possibly entertainment complex, downtown Disney, all that different stuff. So There are things that could come from this, like infrastructure announcements, like we're going to build the Eastern Gateway, which is like a parking district, a parking lot for the east side of the Disneyland Resort. Or you could get all the way to a theme park announcement, which Bob Iger teased as far as Disneyland Forward goes. Avatar coming to Disneyland. Okay, so I know I talked a lot right there. There's infrastructure things. There's like, oh, we're gonna redistrict this, or actual theme park
there's the flashy
properties.
things, and then there's the like not so flashy behind the scenes things.
So true. But you want to know something, fam? I love the
infrastructure. I know. I wonder if that's because your uncle maybe this is like a bloodline thing.
Maybe.
Because your uncle is or was
he did work
part
for city
of
planning,
the city of Anaheim.
City planning for the city of Anaheim. And yes, so maybe that's part of it. I think
he instilled in you as a young boy, a young lad, just how important city infrastructure is.
Infrastructure. But I do love the idea of getting around Disneyland easier, having just an all-around greater experience as the resort evolves and grows.
Like the Floridors.
The Floridors?
Isn't that what they're called in Florida? The like corridors?
I actually like that more. The
like
utilidors, I think, are what you're thinking about. So,
Floridors works really well.
Hold on,
though.
I want to completely break that down. I want to completely break down what you just said. It's fantastic. So the utilidors are the utility corridors that are underneath the Magic Kingdom Park in Florida. This is a total side quest. The utilidors, though, are the way that it's basically the first floor of the Magic Kingdom and everything's built on top. So it's like backstage. They can literally just move all the way around the park underground and pop up in a different location totally underneath. It's pretty cool. Now, they're called utility corridors. You just call them Floridors, which could mean two things.
Should I trademark that
I
right
actually
now?
love Floridors. Disney loves combining imaginary two words together. Right? But Floridors, it could be because you're in Florida and the water table in Florida is so much higher. The Floridors are higher than the rest of the world because or they're underneath the floor. They're the corridors underneath the floor. Corridors underneath the floor, Floridors, or we're in Florida. Disney, you can thank us later.
That.
You can have that.
It's free.
That's for free. You give us so much free stuff. Wait, never mind.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm obviously just kidding. I buy a lot of this. So now that we've had that whole side quest of the Floridors, where were we?
Oh, the infrastructure.
Yes.
Your love for infrastructure.
All of that to say, yes, the Disneyland Forward project is a lot of infrastructure, but the stuff I think all of us get excited about, the general public, is attraction announcements, land announcements, which they did tease Pandora, a West Coast version of Pandora. Of course, at the Animal Kingdom Park in Florida, you have Pandora, you have the Flight of Passage attraction.
That is my favorite ride, period.
Yeah. You've cried afterwards. Every time we get off the ride and you're like tearing up and I'm like, I'm just winded by the whole experience. And you're like, I'm having a meaningful experience.
Maybe I'm crying because of the wind in my eyes.
Maybe.
And then my psyche just tricks me out.
It is a beautiful ride though. It really is. So you have Avatar coming to the West Coast. I would imagine from the concept art they showed us, they're leaning more into the Way of Water locales from Pandora. But what would you like to? You love Pandora. You really like the first film, the first Avatar film. But what would you like to see if Avatar comes to Disneyland? Could you imagine?
Well, I personally am not the biggest fan of their like rinse and repeat lands. Like when they announced that they were going to do Star Wars Land, and they're like, we're not building just one, we're building two.
Yeah,
so fun
of the exact same land.
Yeah, it was so fun. That was such an exciting announcement and big flashy numbers. We're building two of them. They're twins. We got twins. But they're the exact same thing. I like a little differentiation, so I would love to see a differentiation in this land.
Yeah.
Maybe build something that focuses on the fire clans.
You know what? They're making 5 of these movies.
Yeah. So they're definitely, I don't think they're only going to base this section or land on the previous films we've seen. I definitely think they're going to bring in, aspects of future films that we don't even know yet.
Sure.
But
or at least options to add on, or where they're saying, okay, we have an expansion plot as as the movies go forward, 3, 4, 5, we can add more.
But I do think, as far as like our little system we've got going here, I think it's highly likely that we get more information about this because we've already seen concept art. So I think they better put their money where their mouth is when it comes to this, because if we keep getting concept art, this blue sky thinking without following through with actual action, I just don't think that's going to be a good look.
It's true. And I will say, we really don't know anything. There's nothing announced, locked in for sure for Disneyland Forward. We just know it's a big project that opens up a lot of doors. And so we know Avatar is at least one they're honing in on. Obviously, it's $1 billion earner. Avatar is going to stick around for a while.
Yeah.
So we know that there's some commitment to that franchise, but there's so much land for more Marvel, for more Pixar, for more Disney. And as we go through this list, and even as we explore, as we all know, other Disney parks around the globe, especially Tokyo, there might be lands or properties that are being developed for those, or have been developed for those, that we could see moving to Disneyland Forward. Like in Tokyo Disney Sea this summer, Fantasy Springs just opened. I think there's some gap that maybe the U.S. parks aren't allowed to have those attractions within a 5-year window of them open, some clause like that. But imagine getting to go to Neverland, like Disneyland. That would be core to Disneyland's identity. And just saying, like, you get to go to Neverland now. You get to explore the Jolly Roger and go on the ride and all that different stuff. And that would be tied to the legacy that's been around since 55, I would feel like.
And while I love the Avatar movies, I do think nostalgia is so powerful.
Yeah, especially at Disneyland, right? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it is like the center of all of our nostalgia.
Sure.
Pieces of our mind. If you're looking inside my brain, like Inside Out, Disneyland is definitely on Nostalgia Island.
Yeah, it's true.
But I don't know if there's quite that nostalgia for Avatar. Obviously, looking forward, there will be, but I would love to see some of those more nostalgic, like core to the Disney brand, things, or IPs built out more at Disneyland in the future. So
true. I totally agree. Okay, so as far as a Disneyland Forward announcement, maybe there's multiple levels on what they could announce for Disneyland Forward, but where do you land? Most likely they're going to announce something with Disneyland Forward, educated wish, or not going to happen?
I absolutely think we're getting a roadmap for what Disneyland Forward will entail. I also know that the land that they've secured, they've got quite a while to build on it. Yes. So I think I don't think they're going to roll out their whole plan, but I think they're going to tease kind of what stages they could roll things out in. And I do think we're going to get some blue sky of like what could come down the pipeline, way down the pipeline.
Yeah. So. Blue sky's dangerous set of words for some fans the last few years.
It's a bit triggering.
Yeah. Where we got blue sky concept art, but we didn't know if it was like plans yet. So I'm with you. I think we're going to hear about it. We're going to hear about Disneyland Forward, but maybe not like specific details where it's saying we're going to lock in everything, all of our plans right now. No. It's just there's too many things in flux that I feel like maybe they'll commit to some things like Avatar and maybe leave some of the rest open, especially to some of the other things we're going to be talking about for these announcements. So Disneyland Forward, most likely going to be mentioned, maybe not all the plans, not a whole roadmap or something. So, okay, Disneyland Forward. Let's stay at Disneyland for a moment, okay? California Adventure, the Avengers Campus land has... Many fans have felt it's a little incomplete as it is. You had the pre-existing Tower of Terror attraction being turned into Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, which is a fantastic ride. They nailed it, even with people loving Tower of Terror as much as they did. And then they added this Spider-Man ride. Mixed reviews. It's fun.
It's a ride at once and then you're good for life type of experience for me personally, but I don't have children yet.
Exactly. I think young families are really enjoying this ride. But yeah, there's something, it's like, that's like a children's ride where it's like, hey, maybe if you're too scared of Tower of Terror or Guardians, ride this ride. It's Spider-Man.
But
it's for the whole family.
Well, there's family attractions all over Disney.
That's true.
Why am I more inclined to ride other ones so many more times? But I have literally zero desire to return to the Spider-Man.
Hot take right here. Hot take right here. That's a very good point. What's it called? Web Slingers.
Web Slingers.
I think it's a great name for a ride. This is a totally other topic. The original idea for the Spider-Man ride going into California Adventure sounded amazing. Amazing Spider-Man. It actually was on a pendulum arm, from what I understand, where now it's just all a bench. One of those
classic like pirate ship rides that goes back and forth?
Think of it kind of like that, but that pendulum arm is also on a guided track. So think of like Peter Pan's Flight, where you're on a pirate galleon flying over, but imagine that pirate galleon, like the pirate ship swinging back and forth, could swing back and forth. So as you're flying through New York City, you, like Spider-Man, are on a pendulum arm swinging back and forth. Sounds incredible, and a story-based ride, and one that doesn't rely on motion simulators.
Or screens.
Well, I'm sure there would have been screens on that thing. But it would have been, I think, a very intense attraction. And they were through development, they dropped it. So another side quest. Now we're going to move forward. And maybe we talk more about that another time. But Avengers Campus feels a little incomplete. I absolutely love it. I just love grabbing a drink over at the Pim's Test Kitchen and watching all the characters move out and about. But there is that building. So behind the Avengers Campus store right there, you have this building that's begging for an e-ticket ride, which Imagineering have announced different versions over the years, as they have not landed necessarily on what the announcement will be, but it will be an Avengers attraction. The last announcement we heard was the multiverse in an e-ticket ride, where you take a time transport vehicle and you eventually face off with King Thanos, with all of the heroes of the multiverse. So an animated comic version of Spider-Man, Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man, Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy, all coming in like one chaotic ride, which is exactly what you want. You want like Infinity War, all the energy of all the Avengers assembling, with even a line, I think, of Avengers Assemble in the ride.
I want a splash page from a comic book in that ride.
Absolutely. I think that's it. It's like you want that experience of reading a splash page with all those heroes in it, and you jumping into the adventure. Originally, this ride had a part of it where as you're in a Quinjet, your own seat would detach and become its own like jetpack. So you would have the ability to fly. I don't know how it would have all worked. So we're going to find out more on this ride. It is the next
time.
It's time. It's that Avengers e-ticket. That is the next e-ticket for California Adventure right now, where they're like, I think, as close as they can to it, or have been. So with this ride, do you think we're going to find out more information about this expansion of Avengers Campus?
I do.
Most likely?
Most likely.
Okay. I'm right there with you. I think it's a most likely. They've talked about it so much. This is like the on the front burner. This is like close to saying, hey, we can break ground on this. The plot's right there. People are waiting for it. So
and the plot of Marvel is on the rise again.
So true.
We're getting hyped again.
Yeah.
Marvel fatigue is slowly over.
It's coming back, baby. Deadpool, Wolverine. Could you imagine just a ride with all of that? It's the total experience of watching the Avengers films in just a single ride. I think that was just it's a great concept.
If I could bottle the feeling of watching Endgame, I would. For the first time. Watching Endgame for the first time, I would.
Totally. So that's on the agenda. I totally think that's going to be announced. One more thing, kind of related to California Adventure, is related to the Country Bears. So the Country Bear Jamboree just came back as the musical jamboree in Orlando, and people are really enjoying it. But in California, the Hungry Bear restaurant at Disneyland is being turned to the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree, which would be a small bit of news. But there's gonna be music from the show, I think, in Florida. I don't know what else will be a part of that. It may just be a small little change. But There's also a big owl, I think, figure next to the California adventure, the Grizzly River ride. Okay.
Grizzly River Rapids.
Grizzly River Rapids, excuse me. Okay. Now, that ride has been around California Adventure forever. There have been some concept art, some concept ideas for adding figures to the Grizzly River.
Country Bear Jamboree figures?
Now that's the question. What type of critters could we see? If there's some push where this kind of niche IP that's like, could it take on a new life at the Grizzly River Rapids? Or maybe other figures, maybe something that's more realistic or more about California. I do think there could be some gags, similar to how there's like gags on Pirates or Haunted Mansion to the Grizzly River ride, because it's a fun ride, very natural looking. But I don't know, for Disney, there could be something to add new life and not have to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars building a new attraction. Just say, hey, come on down, re-experience this ride that we've now added story elements to.
Yeah. I love that area of the park so much.
Too.
I would hate if they ever, turned it into a different vibe, because it really is so peaceful to walk through there. But I think that could be a nice little jolt of energy over there.
I agree.
The Country Bear Jamboree figures, I don't know if they're that, listen, they've got some solid fans. But I don't know if that is necessarily enough to get the jolt of energy, or if that is more just a nice little thing to do for hardcore Disney fans,
Yeah, I don't know if I totally see it as like, oh, this is a match made in heaven. I do see bears, a bear being the thing here, but being like, does it match tonally? Is it a little silly? Is this something that maybe we want to protect, to your point, some of that natural quality that is like a respite from the rest of the Disney park stuff?
I will say though, not in my opinion, obviously it's not my money. I'm not the businessman here, but I do appreciate when Disney does make moves that are not for the mass appeal or not for the general audience. It does feel nice every once in a while when they make a little move that is just a wink to their like inside baseball fans type of thing, that makes us feel seen and heard and appreciated, because we are the lifeblood of that place, it feels like sometimes.
So true. And
I don't want to be forgotten.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. So it's speculative. This is something that I would say maybe an educated wish, but really, I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to get any airtime in the parks panel.
Unless they have such a cool idea to say this will really get people excited about, and we know we can commit to this because it's not a huge price tag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put not going to happen, but maybe like a little like educated wish.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. All right. Now, we were in Anaheim. Let's go across the country to Florida, to Disney World. And there are a few announcements for those 4 theme parks, okay? So one of the big ones was in Disney's Animal Kingdom. We've already mentioned the park, but the Dino Land USA Land is going away.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
You served us well.
Yes, you did. And the dinosaur ride, I remember riding that when I was younger. I was growing up in the South, that side of the country. And I remember fond memories of Dinoland USA. But I think it's time. And I am really excited about what they're planning, especially after they developed it a little bit more. It was kind of all over the place. Then they landed on the tropical Americas. At Disney's Animal Kingdom, you have different lands, including Pandora, but there is a running kind of theme where you have different continents: Africa, Asia, and now the tropical Americas, which I think is great.
Yes.
So, part of this will be marketplace areas where, as Animal Kingdom always loves the authenticity of kind of super realistic authenticity of those regions of the world. So I think like a marketplace, getting like the flora, the plants, the fauna of, animals of that part of the world, I think will be really key to all of this. And there's 2 attractions rumored in concept art. They've really talked about them, so I think they're committing to it for an Encanto ride set in South America and an Indiana Jones ride.
So fun.
Okay. Let's talk about those for a second. So Encanto, I've heard rumors and stuff. They haven't given us concrete plans where it's Disney saying this is what we're going to do. So this is kind of speculation, but it could be a trackless ride system through the casita, through the house. Okay. And trackless ride system similar to Rise of the Resistance or Pooh's Honey Hunt in Tokyo. There's a few other attractions, or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. But, yeah, Runaway Railway. Runaway Railway. So a wireless track system through the casita and eventually going into Antonio's room, which is the animal room, Animal Kingdom, some connection
so
there. So don't know the full story, but the detail of the casita, actually getting to go on the grounds and just a beautiful flowers.
Floors, drawers.
Yes, exactly. I think that'll be a huge pull for families. They love that movie. And to really just go into the building that's from the movie. Disney hasn't had that in a while.
Literally, that house is my dream house.
It is.
Like a Spanish style bougainvillea crawling up the sides.
Ugh. You saw the image for that movie and you said, I'm in. I just want to look at that house the whole time.
Yes. So to see that house in person is a literal dream come true.
So cool. So that will be, that's what they're saying is in Tropical Americas. But there's also another section off to the side where the dinosaur ride used to be, where they're going to repurpose that ride system for an Indiana Jones ride. Okay. Now, of course, out here in Anaheim, we have the Disneyland Indiana Jones Adventure.
Temple of Doom.
Temple of the Forbidden Eye.
Oh,
I just moved.
Oh my
That's an indie movie.
Oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed.
So you have that ride, and what's funny, that exact track, those exact ride vehicles, those are what they use for the dinosaur ride. So essentially, the infrastructure for the track and everything
Ding, ding, ding.
are all there for them to literally just put that Indiana Jones ride here, in Florida. But of course, there's a new story, new South American theme. The first scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark is in South America. So you could have even just a recreation of that sort of booby-trapped temple that he goes in to get the idol and all that stuff. So yeah, pretty exciting. I think those ideas are really, really cool. I think Florida tourists will love those two properties in particular. I think dads, of course, will gravitate towards Indy, but families would love Encanto. So what do you think about this? I think for me, it's most likely going to happen because they've already announced it. They've already committed to this, that they're going to break ground.
Yeah.
So
I think we're going to get some deep insight into this because I think it's one of the things that, again, they've already publicly committed to, and that the public has responded positively. So I think this will be among some of their bigger announcements. I really don't know if they're going to really wow us with some major surprise that no one sees coming. Maybe I'm not a pessimist. I'm actually quite optimistic, but I don't know.
You don't know.
I've been a little burned. So I do think this will be up there towards the end of the panel with some great, photos, videos, some fake videos. What are those called? Like a
fly through or like of models,
like a walkthrough model.
Oh, yeah, through the land. Yeah.
Yeah. Or something like that digitally. I don't know.
I could totally see that.
So yeah, I think it's very possible that we get deep insight into this, but I also love the idea of another Indiana Jones attraction that is different than the one we have here. Key word, differentiate from what we have here. I love that it's not going to be a rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And I also love that there's potential to, really have a great celebration with Harrison Ford when that ride opens.
Yeah.
Because
that's a very good point.
With us.
He's
and
still
I think
with
they would
us.
want to speed that along because he won't be with us forever.
Well, he's in Captain America 4.
He's alive and kicking. I'm not trying to bury him before
he survived
he's dead,
that plane crash.
Oh my God, that's right.
Remember from years ago? Yeah. He is around. So yes, I am super stoked. I think this whole land, I think it will fit in really well with Animal Kingdom. I do get the argument that some of the decisions around Tropical Americas may be walking away from stories about animals in particular, where Animal Kingdom, that was what it was before. But I do think this choice fits really well in the park. And
I also think they could lean into the conservation aspects of it, you know, them being both stories that take place in really densely populated jungly areas.
Yeah. So we'll see. We will see what they do with all of that. I am very excited for the development of those two. I think they'll be great fits for the park.
I love it.
So most likely going to be announced.
Definitely.
Now, there was another attraction for Animal Kingdom that was announced or was talked about last time. And it was a redo of the It's Tough to Be a Bug 3D show underneath the Tree of Life. Okay. So you go right now, you currently go underneath the roots of the Tree of Life. It's giant. It's looming over you. And you go into this theater where some of the characters from A Bug's Life put on a little show. It's about the bugs. So my mom always I think my mom was like most moms, didn't like that ride. It's, or that show. It's the bumps. It was the spiders coming down from the ceiling, of course. And it was at the end where they're like, all right, everyone exit the right of the theater. Let the bugs go first. And you feel them underneath your butt. I mean, hilarious.
And aren't there like blasts of air?
Oh, of course.
Ew. I hate it.
And I think any ride, now it's just toned out from it. Just Universal too. Still.
The squirts of water.
Absolutely. They love their water. So, this show will be rethemed to Zootopia. Zootopia, the argument against Zootopia coming to Animal Kingdom, that even Joe Rohde, who's the person who designed Animal Kingdom, has said Zootopia, in and of itself, it is a story that animals are in, but it's really a human story. It's telling a story about how humans interact with each other, not about the themes of Animal Kingdom, which is why he was like, I'm all for Avatar coming in, because those themes are about conservation and
resources.
Yeah. So I get what he's saying. I understand navigating this park, Animal Kingdom, to a new era. What does that look like? People expect if it says Animal Kingdom and there's a $1 billion movie that's all about animals, you'd think maybe you'd be in that part. So I get just the logic of having it there. But for now, we have this 3D show. And I think there's going to be a Officer Clawhauser animatronic, the cheetah.
I love it.
So where Hopper, the animatronic. Is
Idris Elba going to be in this?
I don't know. I don't know if same voices, new voices.
I don't
Jason
think
Bateman's
so.
voice is so recognizable.
I know.
It's hard to replace
I think they
him.
would shell out money for him, if anyone.
Sure. Yeah.
And then just,
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for that. And I would imagine that show will be sort of educational about how animals live together, coexist, and how in our world we are coexisting with nature, with each other. So definitely announcement on this. I think they've already given concept art for it. It's moving forward. I think we're going to find out more about this show. What do you think?
I'm going to take your lead on this too and
Most
say
likely?
yes, most likely.
Okay. Okay. I have another tag on for Animal Kingdom, but I'm going to save it because it's kind of a special little announcement. You said a second ago, nothing that's out of the blue, out of the ordinary. I got a little something, but I'm going to save it. Okay. But let's move over to Magic Kingdom, the most visited theme park in the world. Okay. So the big thing that people were talking about out of last D23 was this blue sky concept called Beyond Big Thunder Mountain. You remember when they announced that?
I do.
And it was that big image of the peak of Big Thunder Mountain. And behind it, you saw the village from Coco. You saw the casita from Encanto. And then kind of off in the distance, you see the Forbidden Mountain, Maleficent's Forbidden Mountain. Okay. So that would be alluding to villains, a villain land, which people got excited about last time. Now, okay. This project has been moving forward. It, I think, has evolved a little bit, especially getting information that the tropical Americas are getting the Encanto attraction
Casita.
and the Casita. So I doubt they would be able to do Casita, maybe 2 Encanto attractions, but not 2 Casitas in one resort. So I think that might be navigating away, but I have heard Coco is moving forward there, especially as you cross behind Tiana's Bayou Adventure, where you have Big Thunder Mountain there, Coco behind it. So it's still in kind of this desert southwestern locale. But if you were to go to the other side of Rivers of America, you have the Haunted Mansion there. So between these two ideas of the Land of the Dead, Haunted Mansion, maybe thematically we can connect to that, and the desert Southwest theme. So I get that as a merging point that possibly could be locked in as an announcement. And I'm actually going to stop here before we even talk about Villains Land. I think Coco... It's all strange because Coco, I originally thought, I was like, man, there's so much cultural representation in Coco. It should be an Epcot. I understand there's limitations with the ride that's currently in Epcot, the Mexico Pavilion, the boat ride there with the 3 Caballeros, that they couldn't just put that in that ride system. But it's just so rich that I was like, man, that would feel like if you're touring around the world, having something that feels like, man, I got a taste of a culture. And I think Coco did a great job doing that. Yeah, I do. So, but it doesn't matter what I think. It's probably going to go in Magic Kingdom.
We're still going to make a podcast about what we think anyway.
Yeah, I know. I do think Coco as an expansion for Big Thunder Mountain. I think it's most likely we're going to find out beyond Big Thunder Mountain plans. How about that? I'm good to commit to, they have talked about beyond Big Thunder, that I think we're going to hear plans on what that is going to be, whether it's Coco, whether it's something completely different. I even heard Mickey Views, Braden and Mickey Views, who's another YouTuber. He was talking about Cars Land possibly being rumored behind it. I don't know if I love it because you have this time and place with Big Thunder Mountain, and even if you want to include Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and then you go around a corner and there's talking cars. I don't know. I just not a huge fan of that, but could happen. Cars is a huge property that families would love to see. But we'll see. But I'm going to say most likely we're going to hear about Beyond Big Thunder Mountain. Could be Coco. Likely Coco is where I'm going to put my money, I think. Yeah. But let's talk about what I know we're both interested in, this Villains Land. And the reason I want to talk about this separately is because there have been rumors on, people love this idea of a Villains Land, okay? It has all these properties that Disney has had in their bank for years. And there's so much passion behind it, it's probably going to go somewhere. But where is that somewhere? I think Beyond Big Thunder Mountain is a great place for it. I think more because of Fantasyland. You kind of have a whole land of Disney's classic stories of the good guys, the light side, right? The heroes. And this other neighborhood that's tucked in the corner where the villains have been banished and you can go visit them, but you have to watch your back. I love that idea that it could be a part of this kingdom, this Magic Kingdom, where it was all of these stories lived here. So I think it's a natural fit, especially for Florida, because it's just like, I think that park in particular could just explore these IPs in a really cool way. What do you think about?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love the idea of a Villains Land. I think a lot of us have been saying that for a really long time. Yes. You know, these characters are so rich and have such great presence when you're, when you get to meet them on those little meet and greets. I think
especially meeting them would be fun.
Yes, the meet and greets are so fun because they can just kind of bend the rules a little bit when it comes to, what you expect a normal character interaction is. It's a little bit more, edgy, not much, but, if you're a kid, it feels edgy.
They can be a little rude to you.
Yeah. And I think we love that. I mean, didn't they announce something with one of the cruise ships? The theme is heroes versus villains, right? So I think, of course, I think it's very possible they feel much more comfortable moving forward with a Villain's Land now, not only because of maybe they tested the waters with how people reacted to the cruise ship theming being heroes and villains, because a cruise ship theme is a heck of a lot less risky than a whole land in, you know, one of their staple theme parks. But not only that, but of course, how Universal has tested the waters. And they've obviously received a lot of great hype and feedback from fans for Epic Universe's Dark Universe.
Yes, the Monster Land.
Yes, the classic Universal Monster Land. And I'm hyped about it. I'm stoked about it. And I think Disney should acknowledge that, you know, you have adult fans who want villains. And what's fun is it can help kids be brave. You know, it can help them face their fears. There's a lot of ways. I could totally
see that being a coming of age thing.
There's a lot of ways families can, you know, shape their own interaction with this land for their kids of any age, right? You know, they can really help even use it as, you know, talking points for morality. I don't know, you know, and I think
that's funny.
I think it's time. I don't love the idea that I mean, hey, I would love an announcement about a Villain's Land. Do I love the idea that it would come on the heels, like close on the heels of Epic Universe's announcement? And you know, moving forward, I don't love that it looks so painfully obviously like, you know, oh, they jumped first, and now that they tested the waters, we're going to jump now.
Sure.
I don't love that, but you know, at the end of the day and years down the line, no one's going to remember what petty discourse could come surrounding that. You know, they're just going to enjoy the land.
Yeah. All we'll know is the lands that work and don't. That's all we'll know, you know? And
you know, we'll know when it gets a retheme one day.
that is
but
true.
I hope not.
When we show up at the park one day and it's there, we'll know. A couple quick things I wanted to say about Villain's Land before we move on. Some of the ideas or maybe even some rumors for attractions, they have tried or at least experimented with Disney villains before, even for a theme for the
Halloween like special night.
Sure.
Or what is it? What is it called?
Halloween events, the Oogie Boogie Bash.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like Villain's Alley or something, right?
Yeah, you're right.
You go and meet them.
Yeah, it was through the Redwood Creek forest area, which was from videos I've seen, really cool.
Yeah.
But there was concept for even retheming the pier at California Adventure around Disney villains, like you're going on that roller coaster ride. Yeah, really old concept art. Old concept art.
Like years ago.
Years ago, where when they were bringing more Disney to California Adventure, were possibly the boardwalk games, the roller coaster ride could be like a fun house, but villains fun house where those characters could show up. So
I'm so glad that didn't happen.
Pixar Pier is a great time.
Yes.
So, but all that to say, there are some ideas or rumors that have been thought of for this villains type land. Some of the things include the rundown riverboat from The Rescuers. If you remember, I think it's Madame Medusa, I believe. But she had this rundown riverboat that was dilapidated, and that's where she ran her like evil schemes out of. But that could be like a dinner.
Her general evil schemes.
I know, yeah. They're looking for that diamond, right? Devil's eye. Anyways, that could be a dinner place. Whereas this beautiful little but it's all decrepit. It's all a little bit off color. So you have that. You have places where obviously Maleficent's castle, where battling that dragon with all the Disney villains would be bananas. And of course a thrill ride component to that. I don't know. It could get really cool. Who do you think is
like the biggest bad of Disney villains?
I think Maleficent has to be, but I think Chernabog from Night on Bald Mountain.
I think they've positioned her as the biggest bad.
Sure.
I don't think she is.
Yeah, maybe. Who do you think?
Well, yeah, my first thought went to Chernabog, but I don't really know much about him. But I know he looks really freaking scary.
It's a giant demon.
Yeah, terrifying. And that part of Fantasmic always freaked me out as a kid. I
always love Captain Hook. He might be my favorite villain.
Yeah, he's so silly, though. I don't think he's the biggest bad, but I love him. I want to see him and Captain Jack Sparrow. I don't know, just interact. Like the two park characters.
Yeah.
Interacting, I think, could be really funny.
Well, in a villain's land, I feel like there would be some interaction. So this concept is really fascinating. I think a lot of people are really interested in it. But there's also rumors that it may not end up in Magic Kingdom. That's my first choice, I think, but it may end up in Hollywood Studios. Okay. Now, Hollywood Studios, and I think Epcot might be in a similar boat where more attractions need to be developed for those two parks. They're both great parks, especially Epcot, but I think there just needs to be more attractions, rides, experiences that families can do a whole day of things, for those two parks. But it's been rumored for Hollywood Studios where the animation courtyard is. So if you're facing the Chinese theater, you just look diagonally to your right, and it's where Star Wars Launch Bay is.
Yeah.
But that space has been rumored for a lot of stuff. In fact, that's its own category of announcements for D23. Something I think is going to be put there. That's the next plot to really be developed. And it could be something Pixar. In the past, it was rumored for a Monsters, Inc., possibly a Monsters, Inc. area, or obviously I would love Marvel something. They have limitations in Florida, especially in Orlando because of Universal. But that Villains Land could be there. And they've talked about it possibly being this really large indoor land. So
it's always dark.
So it's always dark.
Okay. That's convenient, but that to me, I don't like it.
You don't like? Tell me.
Because I want the villains in Magic Kingdom. That's their kingdom. They rule and reign until they don't, because our hero takes over. They rule and reign their kingdom, and I think that kind of like breaks the
continuity or what you'd think, where you'd find the villains.
Yeah, and it feels like if they put it in Hollywood Studios, these bad guys are just things that the movie that they make up in movies.
I hear you.
Or I don't know, the connection there just feels like a big jump. It would feel, I just feel tonally, it would make so much more sense in Magic Kingdom.
I do. And I feel like there would be less things you would have to, less questions. Being like, why is it here exactly? Magic Kingdom is just like, of course, that's where they're off to the side.
That's where they live.
They're watching over the heroes, seeing when they can plot their next thing.
This is where they've been banished to. Yeah, they couldn't interact with any of the characters from their movie if they were in Hollywood Studios. What you're going to tell me, there's also going to be a Rapunzel in Hollywood Studios and a Little Mermaid.
It is kind of a strange
Snow White. No, they're not going to be over there.
Yeah, I hear that. I think one connection that I see that I know they need to have a big draw for Hollywood Studios, like another big thing. They have a Pixar thing with Toy Story Land, Star Wars Land, but another big thing that is from other categories of Disney, like Marvel. But I know Marvel is the obvious choice if it was allowed.
And, I mean, I know a lot of people who would be interested in listening to this may already know, but if you don't know, Marvel has limitations of what they can have represented in theme parks to the east of the Mississippi River.
Yes,
right?
It actually is the rule in the contract.
The law?
From east of the Mississippi River. Universal has the theme park rights to the Marvel characters,
and now they can't make new rides with Marvel characters, but they can refurbish.
Previous
rides that had
their Spider-Man ride that they have, the Hulk ride that they have,
and they can't have anything featured from the MCU.
I think merchandise. They can sell merchandise.
They can have MCU merchandise
because Disney's making it, and Disney is making the money.
Make your bag king.
So,
but yeah, nothing in the ride can be MCU versions. Only comic book versions or old. You can't see
Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man at Universal. No. So that rule is still there, and that's why in California they can do a Marvel Land. It's west of the Mississippi River, and certain characters for that Florida agreement are off the table. Like Guardians of the Galaxy does not have a presence in the Universal Marvel Land, so Epcot could use them. If that makes sense. I even think Doctor Strange, like I saw there was a meet and greet of Doctor Strange at Hollywood Studios. And so there's like a gray area. I don't know. So another rabbit trail. But yes, because of that reason, Marvel can't go into Hollywood Studios. So this Villains Land could be this big expansion. But another connection to Hollywood Studios and the Disney villains is Fantasmic. That has run there since the 90s. And so I do get some of the general public, or at least the fans that have been there for years, there has been an association for this assembly of the Disney villains at that park. But I am with you. For the future, for a place where it's like, let's put it here, it's permanent, it makes sense, it's this forward-thinking thing, and Magic Kingdom does need capacity. They do need capacity because it just gets very crowded there. So all right, all that to say, I'm going to say definitely, most likely, an announcement about Villains Land is going to happen.
Oh.
Where? I don't know.
I would say that's an educated wish.
Ooh, you think educated wish that they're going to announce a Villains Land? Why is it? Because you enjoy that too much? It's just
because I
too
just,
good to be true?
Yeah, a little bit. But I am... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I'm just not 100%. I'll believe it when I see it. So that's why I think I'm saying educated wish.
I just think it's a thing. And maybe I'm saying all of these are like, it's definitely going to happen. I haven't said it. It's not going to happen yet. But we will see. I think it's one that people are very excited about, and it's low-hanging fruit for intellectual property. People know them. So cool. All right. So that covers Villains Land. That's a big chunk, I think, about this. Maybe that announcement could be left towards the end if they're really going to do it and they really explore everything they're going to do.
I don't know where the right place to bring this up would be, so I'm just going to say it. I still think the coolest way that they could like impress me as a company again and win me over wholeheartedly. I mean, listen, hello, I'm a Disney fan wholeheartedly for life, but oh my gosh, if they made some type of like Disney Channel original movie land, like a Disney Channel land, and all of our like nostalgia, like they built Smart House and Raven's family was there, and Hannah Montana and the Russos, I would lose my freaking mind. Yeah. Could you imagine? I think there's enough Disney adults. We're all 30 now. We all have our money to go.
You want to visit those places? I guess.
Oh my gosh. No, we can go to all the filming locations.
That's fine.
And I know they have Disney Channel night for like Disney After Dark and stuff, but oh my gosh, if they had a land where you could go to East High.
You want to know something? If Disney Plus, because Disney Plus, they can see the numbers of who's watching what. If they somehow saw a huge spike.
All right, this is what we're going to do. We got to coordinate.
Hold on. In Smart House, in like Luck of the Irish, any Ryan Merriman movie that was on the Disney Channel, which is just those two, I think. So, just imagine if there was a spark of those and like, we have to invest.
No, he was in that fish one, that mermaid one, the 13th year.
Are you sure he was in that one?
Isn't that Ryan Merriman? Oh yeah, that's Ches Starbuck. Okay. How could you forget a name like that?
How could you forget Ches Starbuck? One more rumor for Magic Kingdom. Okay. There is a plot of land in Adventureland. Okay. Behind Pirates of the Caribbean. That has been rumored for a few different attractions in the past. Okay. But this one's rumored for a Moana themed water ride. We saw concept art for an Animal Kingdom, a ride for the Animal Kingdom that they eventually scrapped to make way for this other thing, Tropical Americas. But maybe a water ride in Adventureland past Pirates of the Caribbean, where you could explore Moana and all this different stuff. That is total speculation, total rumor. Could be something that they're saying this is a big announcement we're going to drop. I know Moana is big. You have Moana 2 coming out. You have this live action Moana. What do we think? Do we think Disney's developing a big Moana attraction?
Yes, because there have been patents that some very astute Disney fans have pointed out. And they resemble the type of boat. Yep. The Outrigger.
I think Outrigger or something. Or
that Moana.
Yeah, that she
boats.
Sails
she drives. She sails.
Yeah.
And also, it's the biggest movie on their streaming platform. I think they're absolutely going to put money there, especially when there's 2 other touch points of Moana coming out.
So true.
Absolutely. Yes. 100%. No doubt a Moana ride is going to be announced.
You think it will be announced this year? You think a Moana ride is going to be announced this year?
Yes.
Okay. I like it. No, only because it's rumor. Like, I don't know. Yes, we have that ride vehicle thing, but because they haven't talked about it yet, I do think they're going to do something because we've seen so much information about this. Where it goes, I don't know, but it is rumored to anchor kind of the southwest end of Magic Kingdom. So we will see. I'm going to say most likely. I'm going to say it.
Do it.
We'll see. It may not be at all. All right. So Moana rumored for Adventureland. Let's move away from Magic Kingdom to Epcot because they have announced a new version of Test Track. Okay. This is also developed by GM and Chevrolet. And we started that ride, or Epcot started that ride as the World of Motion. It was this time travel journey through the development of transportation, the wheel, the cart, cars, trains, all that stuff. And it had animatronics, and it really was a Disney storytelling ride. They have said they're putting a lot of the DNA of that ride, World of Motion, and bringing it back into Test Track. So it's still a thrill ride where you're riding around on this high-speed car, but there's some story element about the history of transportation, which I'm so excited about. I know it sounds so nerdy, the history of transportation, but Epcot is at its best when we get to, when it's a
edutainment.
Yes, and great Disney storytelling that takes us and allows us to be exposed to more cultures or technology or something, be inspired. And so I think this is really great. I really have no idea of how it's going to harken back to the World of Motion. Maybe some of the music from the past. There's some iconic scenes from the past that include them trying to develop the wheel. Like some of the people inventing the wheel, there's a triangle, there's a square, and then one person has developed a circle, and they're the ones who got the wheel right. So I don't know. There could just be fun, classic Disney storytelling here. I think it's definitely most likely because they've already announced this ride. We're going to get more details. But I don't know. I'm sure you're not totally familiar with World of Motion, being a California girl.
Yeah,
but you did ride Test Track.
Yes, which is so fun. But I'm only familiar with World of Motion because of like videos we've watched.
Yeah. So I think most likely we're going to hear something. It's in development, and Epcot needs it. They need that ride to be really sparkly and ready to go. So,
sparkly.
All right. One other Epcot thing is it's one big concept around Figment the Dragon and Inside Out. Okay. So Inside Out 2 came out this summer and has become the highest grossing Pixar movie of all time. Okay. Really high up there. Disney is already, I think, talking about a third Inside Out film. People are connecting to it. It is, I think, a great concept to be in Epcot, which is about learning about ourselves, learning about the world. Now, there used to be a pavilion in Future World, now it's World Discovery, this area, where Wonders of Life used to be. And this was a pavilion focused on health-related things, bodily health. There was a ride called Cranium Command, where it was literally inside someone's mind. Sound familiar? All the different things. So I would love if Inside Out took over the Wonders of Life Pavilion, and we could learn about mental health. We could get inside of headquarters and be there with the emotions and have some type of attraction like that. I would love it to be in Wonders of Life. It's also rumored to go in the Imagination Pavilion on the other side of Epcot.
Where that Villains Land was.
No. So the Imagination Pavilion is where Figment is at Epcot.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. So
I was thinking Animation Pavilion.
Oh, yes.
Over in Hollywood Studios.
Right. So Figment is in the Imagination ride. The big push for Disney fans over the years is let's bring some of the DNA of the original Journey into Imagination back into that ride, or somehow reimagine it. Bring Figment to a new era. possibly Dreamfinder, possibly the way we see Dreamfinder in the Marvel comics that we see, to kind of give it new life. Now, I would love to see that. I would love to just see them go, hey, we're going to take the Imagination Pavilion and just use these two theme park IP, Figment and Dreamfinder. I don't know if it's going to happen. And I would love to see that happen.
I think a Disney Plus movie should be announced with Figment and Dreamfinder.
Well, we learned that that Seth Rogen movie about Figment was a while back.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
But we
episode.
don't know.
We can cut this.
No. You're in. So I don't know the relevancy of it. It could be relevant again to the general public. At the same time, Figment merchandise sells out, and it's like one of the craziest merch sales of anything at Disney World. So I don't know. They've also talked about Inside Out in relation to that attraction going into where the Magic Eye Theater was, where they showed Captain EO in the 3D theater there. So it could be a show just for that, and you keep Figment in its own thing. I don't know. Figment is in the Inside Out movies. He makes little cameos in Imagination Land. Yeah, go back. Blink and you'll miss it.
What?
Yeah,
You have never said this to me.
Oh, I have. Well, Figment is
I had zero clue Figment was
he
in
makes
Inside
a
Out.
little tiny cameo. So there's a little connection there between Inside Out.
For sure.
Yeah. But who knows? Who knows? Disney knows. So what do we think? Okay, just in general, any announcement around the Imagination Pavilion, Figment, Inside Out?
I think this would be blue sky announcements for sure.
Okay.
I think it's possible we get some concrete plans for a Figment something, because people have been so vocal about it, especially recently. But I think anything with Inside Out would be blue sky, because I'm sure that they were waiting to see how this movie performed.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Unless between when the movie came out and now they had plans and they said, okay, no, we're ready to commit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would be an educated wish.
I was about to say this firmly goes in the category of educated wish. I have been disappointed by no Figment for too long. And I know Disney loves Figment. They know people love Figment, but I think it's firmly in the educated wish category as they continue to evolve Epcot. But I know the Imagination Pavilion is on their radar on some level. So educated wish. All right. We are nearing to the end of this list. Okay, I wanted to cover one more announcement. Rumor, really, okay? But I think a really cool, strong rumor, all right? In this talk, we really covered the domestic parks. International parks will probably have a slew of announcements as well, including cruise ships. So we didn't cover everything, and this episode is already going so long. So we're having a great time. But this is a land that's rumored to go into the Disney Adventure Park. This is Disneyland Paris's sister park that used to be Walt Disney Studios, that's being renamed to Disney Adventure World, okay? They're already announced in the back of the park there's going to be a Frozen land. There was going to be a Star Wars land, but I think they're walking that land off the table, okay? And it's rumored that a Lion King land with a water ride, with shops, experiences, whatever, going in that land, where from a distance, imagine, you would see the savannah and Pride Rock looming in the distance as you walk towards this land. And you'll see waterfall, probably, like seeing where the water ride is, but you're approaching Pride Rock with the soundtrack to the Lion King playing. What do you think? Just off the outset. I know that's just a concept right now, but what do you think about that? That is one IP that's like top of the top for Disney, where they really haven't invested a lot of theme park space to. They've done shows, they did Festival of the Lion King, obviously, parades, but a permanent building, ride, attraction, land, where, this movie is like the top grossing hand-drawn movie or whatever, and this live-action Jon Favreau movie that technically is animated, but What do you think? This type of land?
Yeah, I definitely think it is time. It is time.
It is time
to get some hardcore Lion King presence in a park. I think it deserves real estate. And I would be stoked to see this happen. So stoked. Surprised that it
took this long.
Yep. And wasn't formerly, allocated for Animal Kingdom, but I love it.
To that point, this is what I wanted to save to the end. So it's rumored for Disney Adventure World in Paris, but the rumor is that it could also go in Animal Kingdom. Okay, right next to near the Africa section, there is an expansion pad next to Festival of the Lion King, the show. So if you could just venture further out of the Harambe village, and there you are in the savannah with Pride Rock in the distance.
I love it.
That would be...
So could this be one of those where Bob Iger comes out and he's like, we're not building one, we're building two?
That, you took the words right out of my mouth. That would be, I could imagine...
Their big finish.
Their big finish, because this is an IP that has, it's like candy. It's just low-hanging fruit. Every family has seen this movie. Every family loves it. Boys, girls, dads, moms, like almost every age was like, I will go to that. So I think it's just low-hanging fruit beyond like even a Princess brand or something that would get really popular. A Lion King land fully realized where you can explore it, experience it, would just go gangbusters. So Lion King Land and Villains Land for me are two things that I would think Disney could do that, and it would be a home run. This would get people excited, stoked, excited to go, and would be right in line being like, they haven't done that, and I'm surprised they haven't yet because it's just so exciting.
Okay, you teased that obviously we have talked on and on about things happening in our domestic parks. And we're just a couple of yappers, which I love. But give me a rapid fire list of the things that are rumored to come overseas in the overseas parks. Obviously, you just touched on this potential Lion King for Disneyland Paris, and cruise ships.
Okay.
What's the rapid fire predictions?
Okay. There's always some kind of rumors, very vague rumors of another resort. But I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon.
AKA another theme park.
Another theme park, but another resort at a totally different location. Could be Australia. Australia has even talked about that before, okay?
Oh my God. If they pulled out no way. If they pulled out another theme park out of their butt, I would be mind blown.
I know. I don't think that's happening right now. I think it's rebuild time too much. So as far as announcements that are like hot on the heels, I don't know, that are more prominent, I would say anything related to cruise ships. You have the Disney Treasure, you have Disney Destiny, Disney Adventure. Those are like the three lineup of new cruise ships that they're either launching or developing. I'm trying to remember all the names, but one of those is the biggest cruise ship that they've ever done. It's like a third larger than any of the cruise ships that they've already done. Okay.
Bananas.
So that will be, and they've already announced this really cool, they showed this really cool concept art showing like lands that could potentially be like lands on a cruise ship. Yeah.
Whoa.
So, so that could be really exciting. I would imagine they're going to go further into that, of what it looks like to have a bigger Disney experience at sea. We love Disney. We went on a Disney cruise. That would be so fun. So I think cruise ships. I also think the Avengers campus in Hong Kong is going to get an expansion, probably this Avengers e-ticket. They've talked about, I think maybe even Zootopia going to another international park. Yeah. The biggest thing is Fantasy Springs just opened in Tokyo. So there have been some things that have been in development. And of course, France has some things going. Shanghai has some things going, Hong Kong and Tokyo. So we shall see. But the domestic parks, since they're closer to home, they're our neighbors. Of course, we're leaning in, excited about those. So any final thoughts, Ashley, before we jump off here?
I am ready to be wowed again by a D23. And I think I do believe they're going to wow us at this one because, 2022 was underwhelming and they know that. So I'm thrilled. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a great year to be a Disney fan and will be a great few years to be a Disney fan. And I hope they don't let me down. And I am believing, I do believe in fairies. I do. That wasn't even a Disney movie. That was a non-Disney Peter Pan
But
make.
Peter Pan, it was in the book.
Peter Pan's in it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I do believe that they will give us a lot of the things that the fans have been really wanting for a while. I am trusting and believing that will happen.
I do too. I'm optimistic. I think they have to go big. There's a lot of ways where they know it's like, we got to make some kind of a splash, or it's another 2 years. I know they could do Destination D next year, which is an offshoot event.
Or random one-offs for like their quarterly earnings calls.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But I'm really excited. I think this is going to be something. This is an event they've saved a lot of information for to drop here. So I'm excited. Bruce Vaughn coming back. He's a former Imagineer, has come back to Disney. He was at the last D23 Expo. I'm excited to have him back. I think his Disney DNA coming back into the fold, I think, is really cool. I think he's going to bring back a lot of those Disney details that we all love. So yes, D23, it's this weekend. In fact, if you're watching this, it's going to be, if you're watching this on a Thursday, it's coming out Friday. So the movie panel, then the parks panel will be Saturday. I understand they're going to be live streaming these two big events. So check into that. Maybe we'll push some information out so people can live stream those two events.
We'll also be doing some coverage of all 3 days, actually. We are stoked. We are going to be glued to the TV watching the live stream.
We won't be at D23 ourselves, but we'll be here with cameras and ways to communicate.
And we've got some friends with boots on the ground there.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So thank you again for listening to this podcast today. And thanks for joining us. We're just getting started. We're excited to share more Disney content with you. We're grateful that you've joined us along for the journey. And we will be back now after D23, or as we cover D23, with just evergreen topics. We can be on the other end of the event,
breaking news,
Comic-Con convention circuit. So, so excited to be here with you guys. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you next time.